some of those vaccine trials were done across from the hospital. Dr. Hansard calling those who participated the real heroes. Fortunately, no businesses were broken into or damaged here, but we do know that someone is in custody. We do want to get to some breaking news overnight. 2 teenagers are dead after an overnight crash in Marshall County. The Marshall County coroner says 18-year-old Michael Finley and 18-year-old Tori Smith were killed in that single car crash. Behind us, cars are moving. Huntsville police just announced over the speaker on the car, they just came by, and they said that people can start to go down Governor's Drive, US 431 right here slowly. So take a look at these cars. They are finally moving. I'm going to show you the Shell gas station. This looks completely different than it did a few hours ago this morning, where, like you just mentioned, there was a lot of people forced to sleep in their cars. Wind and heavy rain making for a messy Wednesday morning. We have team coverage, making sure you have a safe commute to work or school. I'm Reyna. Right now, our weather team is tracking the system as it moves across North Alabama. On the roads, we have Way 31's Luke Heinash. We come on the air right now amid breaking news. The landmark 1973 Roe versus Wade decision giving women a constitutional right to abortion is no more. So we have Way 31's Luke Heinash joining us live on the scene. And Luke, we understand you learned critical new information just minutes ago. I heard of it. Your city probably has one. A child advocacy center, a place for victims of child sexual abuse to go. What if we told you the idea behind these centers started here in Huntsville, Alabama, off Lincoln Street, in this house? Here, because I'm excited for Hispanic Heritage Night here at Toyota Field. Like you said, not only the last homestand here, this is a celebration of the Hispanic culture here in North Alabama, a rich culture, a diverse culture. Years ago, drugs were made at a place like this. It's what gave Sand Mountain its nickname, Meth Mountain. A Florence lawmaker is taking on Delta 8. It's a form of legal THC. He says it's landing in the hands of kids. And right now, there's no age restrictions on these products. So I dug deeper to help explain what Delta 8 is and why some want it to be illegal altogether. Huntsville attorney John Brinkley wears several hats, including a farmer for hemp.
Delta 8 will be legal. It is legal now. It's always been legal since this farm bill was passed.
In 2018, when the farm bill was signed into law, Brinkley chose to take a chance and invest in the hemp industry, opening up farms in both Huntsville and right across the state line in Tennessee. Some of these plants shipped off to be made into Delta 8 products.
And they're available at most gas stations, some CBD shops, some nutraceutical or health food stores.
In fact, Brinkley owns this CBD and Delta 8 shop, which has products like gummies and vape pens. But the difference between this product and a traditional marijuana product is the amount of THC in it. He says this won't get you the same high as Delta 9, which is illegal.
They generally just give the relaxation. They don't get you stoned necessarily.
But what it will get you is a positive drug test.
If you're using Delta 8, which is perfectly legal in Alabama, it will come up, you will come up hot for a THC test under Delta 9.
Attorney Michael Timberlake says it could prevent you from getting a job or cause you to lose one.
They don't have to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. They just, if you pop hot for THC, they can take action against you.
But for the court system, it's a gray area.
Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's good.
Madison County Chief Deputy District Attorney Tim Gamm calls Delta 8 a loophole. He says if you take enough, it's just as bad as Delta 9. It's also causing a headache for probation officers and judges.
It's a problem right now, and right now, without sending it to the Department of Forensic Science to actually have it tested to distinguish, we can't distinguish it. So I believe it is causing some trouble with folks on probation.
Gann says the Department of Forensic Sciences is already backed up and needs to prioritize high-profile cases, which is why Gann supports state legislation to make it illegal.
What you're dealing with is a situation where the federal government has said it is legal, and state government can come in and pass more restrictive laws than the federal government.
An attempt to last legislative session fell through, but back on February 1st, Florence Senator Tim Melson filed SB 144. It will define Delta 8 as a Schedule I controlled substance. However, he says he plans to scrap the bill. Instead, he's working on legislation so only people 21 and older can buy the products, a relief for hemp farmers like Brinkley.
Hemp plants, for example, contain Delta 8. So if you prohibited Delta 8, it would in fact prohibit every single plant in the state of Alabama.
Senator Melson says he'll consider another attempt at making it illegal in the future, but first he wants to prioritize keeping a product intended for adults away from kids.
Love the story, Megan, but I do have a question. So we're talking about restricting age access, but that can affect business for the folks who sell this. How do these people feel about that age restriction?
Chris, yes, I brought this up to them actually yesterday. They have no problems with it. They actually enforce age restrictions as of right now, even though there's not a law in place. They believe that there should be an age restriction on it. So they're completely fine with that. They think that that is reasonable. While this might look like any other doctor's office to you, there's really something special happening inside there. A couple decided to start this clinic a year and a half ago, a nonprofit to serve the Spanish-speaking community.
I'm getting emotional.
For nurse practitioner Nayeli Alvarez Hernandez,
wow,
working here is a calling.
Honestly, I think I see my parents more than anything.
She knows what it's like to go to a doctor's appointment with her parents, and no one there is able to understand them.
I feel like I'm helping a lot more people doing this type of work.
But this clinic is different than most she grew up going to.
It's a very humble clinic, but God is doing great things here.
Myra and Dr. Thomas Short, a gastroenterologist out of Decatur, wanted to open up this practice where everyone who works here is bilingual and you don't have to have insurance to be seen.
And you get their confidence, their trust, because they see that you're, here to help them, really.
Dr. Short says while it's not a free clinic, he's negotiated with Huntsville Hospital and other specialists to have what he calls a fair price.
We're not a clinic that was set up to make any amount of money, that kind of thing. So I think we've gained the trust of the mostly Hispanic community.
And several doctors are donating their time to help patients here.
We have an endocrinologist, a retired urologist, and a rheumatologist, and they come here and see patients also.
Patients, they get you.
And for Alvarez Hernandez, she's living out a dream that both her and her parents work towards.
Like, what do they think about what you're doing now? Oh, they love it. They're like so proud.
Everyone who works here is just so passionate about what they do. It really is touching. And they do accept donations to help pay for patients that can't afford the price that they offer. So if you would like to donate, we have a link on our website, waytv.com. They also use that money towards medical supplies. And if you want more information about how to set up an appointment here, we also have that information for you on our website. Reporting live in Huntsville, Megan Reyna, Way 31 News. Welcome back. 4:43 right now. This month, we're taking you across Madison County to the areas booming with growth. This morning, we start at the intersection of Research Park and University Drive. Most projects start with a blank slate, an empty piece of land. This one started with a dying mall.
We purchased the mall in 2015.
Madison Square Mall was once filled with endless shoppers.
It just was failing.
That wasn't the case by 2015.
I mean, the last few years it was open, it was producing a couple $100,000 a year in sales tax.
After 32 years, the mall closed its doors and was eventually torn down. In its place, what's now known as the Mid-City District
is now producing right at $3 million a year, and only about 10% of it's out of the ground.
A 5-story
RCP, a Huntsville-based real estate company, now owns a majority of this property, designing a place to live.
This is 300 units
work,
on top that sits
play,
at the
and visit.
Our hotels, and we just need to keep working towards building those areas for people coming into Huntsville.
They have plenty of room to build off of.
Land use is equivalent to 31 city blocks downtown.
Director of Urban and Economic Development Shane Davis wanted to make sure this wasn't just another shopping center.
Theater would be something that would draw people to this area.
So the city dished out a lot of cash and invested more than $40 million into building a music venue and public park.
Bring the people up and you bring them close to stage. You put the artists close to the fans. You don't see something like this.
The Orion Amphitheater, already booking artists like Kenny Chesney and Earth, Wind & Fire.
It is one of those venues that we're actually hearing from artists that they're saying, I've got to go play the Orion.
But the Orion isn't the only source of entertainment. Big-name businesses like Topgolf and Dave & Buster's staying busy. Even a grocery store, well, Trader Joe's drawing large crowds. The local business owners are also getting an opportunity. Every Sunday, the camp fills up with vendors for a farmers market, attracting people from across North Alabama.
It's just nice environment, good vibe.
And now that Huntsville is the largest city in Alabama, these investors want to make sure it stays that way.
We're getting better and better at that every day.
Well, a lot is still under construction. Just drive by and you'll see it, including new apartments. They won't be ready till next year. But keep this in mind. According to RCP, private investments at Mid-Cities estimated to exceed $1 billion over the next 5 years.